Hi guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are going to be looking at the Steelers free agency and grading each signing and trade and see how each player fits on the team. Make sure to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Now, let's dive into it. Before we can look into the individual signings that the Steelers made, we need to look at their cap space situation so we can understand how much money they have and what they need to do with it. At the start of free agency, they had $18 million, which was created by cutting players like Anthony Chickillo, Mark Barron, and Johnny Holton, with also players retiring like Ramon Foster. Also, they were able to restructure contracts with many players on the team in order to create more money. At the end of free agency, though, they only had $1.5 million in cap space, meaning that they spent almost all of their money in free agency and are unlikely to make any more signings this season. First up, we have Mike Hilton, the cornerback. He was a restricted free agent, so we were able to get him for only $1.33 million, which is an absolute steal for a player the caliber of Mike Hilton, which is why I feel like this is an A+ signing, because even though we only have him for 1 year, and next year we're going to have to pay him the big bucks, he still won't be asking for too much since he's a slot corner. So this is a great bridge year to get him for such a cheap contract. So overall, A+ grade. Now let's move on to the franchise tagging of edge rusher Bud Dupree for $13.8 million. I really like this move because he had his best season of his career last year, and other than that, he's been really uneventful. So I feel like we franchise tag for 1 year, and then we wait to see, okay, if you can repeat your success that you had from the season before, then great, you deserve a long-term contract, and we'll sign you to that, and you can be a long-time Steeler. But before then, we need to make sure that you know what you're doing, and it's not just some fluke season, because sacks are oftentimes a product of the system, not necessarily the individual player. But all in all, I like this signing, so I'll give it an A grade. Now let's move on to the signing of the offensive tackle Zach Banner for 1 year, $1.75 million. I like it because it brings back Zach Banner, who knows the team, has good chemistry here, and plus we're really weak at offensive line, so he can really slide in anywhere and find playing time. That's why I give this signing an A grade. Moving on to the Chris Worley trade. The Ravens give up Chris Worley and a 7th round pick in exchange for the Steelers giving them a 5th round pick. I give this trade an A- grade because Chris Worley is some much needed defensive tackle depth after Javon Hargrave is lost in free agency. And he's a really good player, really underrated in my opinion, with long arms, very capable pass rusher and run defender, just is a great all-around player. I think the Steelers did well here getting some more defensive line depth. Moving on to the Steelers' biggest free agency signing of this offseason, let's talk about Ebron. I like this pickup for the Steelers because the Steelers are very weak at tight end, and if they didn't pick anyone up in free agency, they were definitely going to need to target it in the draft. And picking up Eric Ebron gives you a little bit more flexibility in the draft, and if he can perform at the same level he did in, I believe, 2018 when he made it to the Pro Bowl, then the Steelers just got a steal. But the thing is, the contract, it's not ideal. It's 2 years, $12 million. So when you're playing with minimal cap space, that might not be the greatest signing, which is why it's only a B+ grade instead of an A grade or something higher. Now moving on to the signing of offensive guard Steven Wisniewski, which I think is a B+ grade because it's a pretty cheap contract, 2 years, $2.85 million, with almost $1.5 million per year. And it's really low risk, bringing a veteran on the offensive line, much needed depth there, especially after Ramon Foster retires. Just all in all, great pickup. Next up, we have the Steelers bringing back restricted free agent Matt Filer to a 1 year, $3.3 million deal. I think this was a necessary pickup because the Steelers' offensive line is really not looking so good right now. That's why I give it a B+ signing. Only reason it's not higher is because Matt Filer, $3.3 million for him, might be a little bit high, but it was a necessary need that we needed to pay attention to. On to probably the Steelers' most interesting free agency signing of the offseason. It's signing Derek Watt, the brother of TJ Watt, to a 3-year, $9.75 million contract with $3.25 million per year. The reason why this contract is so interesting is because getting that much money for a fullback is just a lot, and given the Steelers' minimal cap space, it's an interesting signing. But in the end, I like it though, because Derek Watt is a top fullback in the league, also an elite special teamer, and also pairing up with TJ Watt is just fun in my opinion. Also would keep TJ in here in Pittsburgh in case he wants to leave for some reason. Also, it might just be a fantasy, but imagine if we can get also JJ Watt to the Steelers. Just the trio of Watts, that'd be beautiful in my opinion. So that's why it gets a B- grade instead of something lower. Moving on to the Jordan Dangerfield signing, he signed a 1-year, approximately $850K contract. The exact amount I could not find, but I give this a B- signing because it fills a need at backup safety that Sean Davis left when we lost him in free agency. But at the same time, he's not an elite player. Moving on to the Cameron Canaday contract, the long snapper, we signed him to a 2-year, $2.4 million contract, $1.2 million per year. I give this a B- signing because it's a little bit much for a long snapper in my opinion. He's now the second highest paid long snapper in the league, but it's a B- signing because long snappers are important. He's a decent long snapper. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe, and until next time.